Welcome into WCC All-Access. I'm Ezra Broder. Coming up, the Olympics are here. We talk with a few of the many athletes competing with WCC ties. Plus, the historic basketball season continues in the conference as a record number of players figure to be picked in the NBA draft. And we look back at the multiple national championships won by WCC teams during the 2020-21 season. But first, the international spectacle that is the Olympics is upon us, and the West Coast Conference is being represented by dozens of former players and coaches. 21 former WCC student athletes will be competing in the Olympics, and an additional 13 current and former athletes from WCC institutions will participate. Plus, 7 other people with WCC ties will be coaching in the games. All 10 WCC schools will be represented in the Olympics, and those athletes and coaches will suit up for 13 different countries. Pepperdine leads the way with 9 former student athletes competing in Tokyo. 3 former WCC basketball stars will be flag bearers for their countries during the opening ceremonies. Gonzaga's Rui Hachimura for Japan, Pepperdine's Miranda Ayim for Canada, and St. Mary's Patty Mills for Australia. We're joined now by Pepperdine alum Kim Hill, who's representing the USA in indoor volleyball. And Kim, it's a year later than you expected, but how are you feeling heading into the Olympics?
You know, there's a lot of emotions going into the Olympics, mostly excitement and ready to go. It's going to be an interesting, Olympics, an interesting experience, but I think we're ready to go.
So you've said previously that growing up, you never had these sort of big dreams of playing in the Olympics, but now that you've already done that in 2016, how has that sort of changed your outlook on the games?
Yeah, of course, once you've played in one Olympics, the second one is very different as far as your approach. And especially for us, I never dreamed of coming to the Olympics. And so the last Olympics was just this great experience and taking in everything. And this time it's more laser focused on, I think, winning the gold medal. And we wanted that last time, of course, but we fell short. So this time it's really we got one job and one goal in mind for sure.
In 2016, you helped the U.S. win a bronze. Right now, you're ranked #1 in the world, last I checked. How hungry are you to get that gold medal?
Very hungry is what I can say. We've never gotten at USA women's volleyball, and we've been so close, and we need it. We want it and we need it, and we'll stop at nothing to get it for sure.
You've also said that these games are likely your last Olympic Games. Do you feel any more pressure going into the Olympics, you have to perform and go out on top, or are you just kind of loose and relaxed and, sort of taking in the moment?
Yeah, I definitely would say it's more of the taking in the moment and just feeling really grateful for the career that I have had and being able to finish it on going to the Olympics is the best way to really finish it. And just wanting to finish it well, but at the same time, enjoying the moments with my teammates, enjoying the moments with my coaches and everything, taking it all in.
Can you describe what it feels like to wear the red, white, and blue and represent your country and Pepperdine in the West Coast Conference on such a big stage?
Yeah, it's a weird thing because we're playing in all these tournaments throughout the year, and it becomes, of course, somewhat routine, putting on the jersey and all that kind of stuff. But then when you have these moments of realization that, wow, there are 12 women who are chosen for this team, and there are how many thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of girls who are playing volleyball right now. It's such a huge honor and a weight in a lot of ways, but also just a huge honor. And it just makes you enjoy, like I said before, makes you enjoy every moment because it's not going to last very long for sure.
Time to take a break. When we come back, we go down the coast to see what's making headlines around the conference. And we talk with the next generation of NBA talent coming out of the WCC. Gonzaga's Corey Kispert and Pepperdine's Kessler Edwards join the show up next. This episode of WCC All-Access is brought to you in part by Nike, Just Do It, and University Credit Union, who invites WCC alumni and fans to bank with their brains and open an account today. We're back on WCC All Access. I'm Ezra Broder. It's time to go down the coast and see what's making headlines around the conference. There's a new head Tiger at Pacific. Leonard Perry takes over as head coach of the men's basketball team after Damon Stoudemire left to take a job in the NBA. Perry was the associate head coach for the last 5 seasons in Stockton He spent 6 years working in the NBA and 16 seasons as an assistant and head coach in college. New leadership in San Diego as Brock Ungrich takes over the USD baseball team. He was an assistant for the Toreros the last 3 seasons. He also previously coached at Stanford and San Diego State. Ungrich takes over for Rich Hill, the winningest coach in WCC history, who is now the bench boss at Hawaii. Speaking of big shoes to fill, Chris Standiford is the new athletic director at Gonzaga. He takes over from Mike Roth, who retired after 24 years at the helm. Standiford has been with GU for 28 years in various roles, in addition to earning his undergraduate and master's degrees from there. Congrats! A pair of WCC legends will be enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame in September. Bill Russell, who's already enshrined as a player, will be inducted as a coach. He was the first African-American head coach in NBA history. And LMU alum Rick Adelman will join him. He's the 9th winningest coach in league history. And finally, there's a plethora of WCC talent heading to the big leagues. Major League Baseball held its draft in mid-July, and Kai Bush of St. Mary's was the first WCC player taken at 45th overall. Bush is the first second-rounder taken from the WCC since LMU's Corey Abbott in 2017. To see all of the WCC players taken, head to WCCSports.com. The most WCC players picked in the NBA draft in the same year is 3, but that record will likely fall in 2021. One of those guys locked in is Gonzaga All-American Corey Kispert, who tells us about his journey to the pros. After your junior year, you declared for the draft, but ultimately chose to come back to Gonzaga. What feedback did you get that helped you improve so much this year?
It just was that, I would benefit from coming back and playing another year. At that point, I really didn't know what a season would look like or how the college season would be put together. So it was a little bit of a leap of faith, but every game we played and every game we got under our belt, my decision was proven right. I played really, really well and got multiple chances to prove myself on a national level. So just really a leap of faith that turned out to be the right decision. And it's one of the best, if not the best, decision I've ever made.
So I have to imagine that you've seen mock drafts and where you're projected to be picked. Do you have kind of a range in mind? Like, do you really want to be a lottery pick, or are you're good wherever you're picked?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Being a lottery pick has a really cool attachment to it, just kind of a little thing you can add on your resume. But at the end of the day, everybody gets the same shot. Everybody gets the same opportunity to, make their mark, when you getting picked in the range that I hope to be picked. And, I'm really excited to get on the court and, go through the process of proving myself, over and over again.
What part of your game do you think best translates to the NBA?
Definitely shooting. NBA is a 3-and-D league now, and just being able to shoot the ball efficiently from the outside is kind of what's getting my foot in the door, and what scouts and front offices have kind of really identified me for. So definitely shooting threes and making them count.
In most mock drafts, there are 4 Zags that are projected to be picked. The most WCC players picked in one draft ever is 3. What do you think that says about where Gonzaga and the WCC are at this point in terms of developing pros?
Yeah, both are trending in the right direction. The WCC is, I've seen it firsthand, really good at churning out, highly skilled players that can do well in the NBA. Guys who can shoot it, dribble it, make the right read, and pass the ball well, especially on offense. So the league's heading in the right direction. They're making a lot of really, really good moves to build athletes for pro basketball, and I'm only looking forward to seeing what the next 3-5 years has in store for the league and for our school as well.
What sort of advice have you gotten from some of the other Zags who've gone through this process? Most recently Rui and Killian Tilly and Brandon Clark in the past few years.
Yeah, just enjoy it. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. This is a summer where you can really, work on and improve your game and make a big splash in the league. So, don't take anything for granted, and do your best to, work on your game and really, sharpen those tools. make yourself shine when the moment comes.
It's been over 15 years since a Pepperdine player was picked in the draft, but that will likely change when Kessler Edwards hears his name called. I caught up with him just a few weeks before the NBA draft. You're going to be the first Pepperdine player picked in the NBA draft since 2005, and maybe the first rounder since 2001. What do you think it would mean to the program to have you picked in the NBA draft?
I think that it would be a really big deal. I feel like it'd just be good for the university as a whole, especially for the basketball program. I feel like people don't really know a lot about Pepperdine, especially the basketball program. So I'm just glad to have been able to represent them for the last 3 years and to continue representing them throughout my career.
Well, you mentioned the last 3 years. You still have a year of eligibility left. Why do you think you're ready for the NBA right now?
Yeah. I just think that in my 3 years at Pepperdine, Coach Romar and the staff did a great job of developing me and getting ready for this point in my career. I feel like my game translates well to the NBA and that I'm ready to help a team out right now. So I felt like now was the right time.
You mentioned your game translating to the NBA. What part specifically of your game do you think translates best?
I just feel like just shooting and defense are definitely my strong suits right now, and those are very important parts to the NBA game nowadays, especially at my position. So I think that those are big things that I'll be bringing to the table. And then just my potential and the fact that I'll keep getting better. So, yeah.
So looking at mock drafts, and I don't know if you do that, but you're projected to go anywhere between late first round, somewhere in the mid second round. Do you care where you're picked or what team you go to, or are you just going to be happy to hear your name called?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. At first, that stuff was kind of, like a big part of my decision of whether or not I would stay in. But I've come to realize that I believe in myself now, and whatever team that gets me, they're just gonna get a hard worker. And that no matter where I get picked, what I can't control is, how hard I work and how long and good my career will be. So that's what's more important to me, really.
What do you think it's going to feel like on draft night when you get that phone call?
Man, I can't imagine. I'm already like anticipating now. Just the days coming up to draft night. You don't know what's going to happen, where you're going to go. So I don't know. I feel like it'll just be a sigh of relief. One of the biggest moments of my life, really. So I can't wait for that.
When we come back, what's trending on social media? We take a look at the best tweets and posts. And more Olympics talk as we chat with a former Portland cross-country runner who will race in 2 events. That's up next. This episode comes to you courtesy of Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Visit HerculesTires.com. And Shamrock Office Solutions, delivering Ricoh digital copier and IT solutions to the Bay Area for over 19 years. Here are some of the best moments on social media. Plenty of representation for the WCC at the 2021 ESPY Awards. That unforgettable Final Four game between Gonzaga and UCLA was named Best Game, and Santa Clara alum Julie Ertz was named Best NWSL Player during the awards show hosted by ESPN. It was 22 years ago that a different Santa Clara legend made one of the most iconic plays in the sport's history. Brandi Chastain's game-winning penalty kick in the 1999 World Cup, followed by her famous celebration. And congrats to BYU alum Elijah Bryant, winning an NBA championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. Assistant coaches Mike Dunlap, an LMU alum, and Ben Sullivan, a Portland grad, also get rings. Definitely cool, but listen to this. A WCC alum has now played or coached in the NBA Finals every year since 2005. Welcome back to WCC All-Access. I'm Ezra Broder. Portland has a long history of elite distance runners, so we knew it was only a matter of time before the Grape Crush broke through at the Olympics. Woody Kincaid is the first former cross-country runner from UP to compete in the Olympics. We spoke to him about that and more. Woody, you're going to be running in the 5K and the 10K. Just tell me how it feels knowing that you're going to the Olympics.
Well, I mean, it's kind of finally starting to settle in. Like, oh, I'm going with in 2 events, and I'm going with my teammate. It's a dream come true, right? That's what everybody says, but it really is. And I think it's especially different for me because I'm going with somebody who I've trained with, for 2 years now, and someone I still get a chance to hang out with, and that makes a world of difference. And I don't think too many people have that experience.
Thinking back on kind of when you crossed the finish line and realized that you were going to the Olympics, what did that moment feel like?
I think me and Grant talked about this, and we're just like, did this really just happen? I think we were both just waiting for someone to say, yeah, sorry, that didn't count. We have to do it again. Like we were just in pure disbelief. And now it's like we've accepted that this is going to happen, and it's one of the best things that's ever happened to us.
So there are a lot of guys from Portland who have come really close to qualifying for the Olympics, but you are the first cross-country runner from Portland to qualify. What does that mean to you, and what do you think that means to the school?
I mean, RC cried. I mean, RC is the coach at University of Portland. Even when I see some of the Portland pilots get All-American, or when I was graduated and I saw them get second place, I know how much it means to be on that team to see their success. I like to think that they see that and feel something for a former pilot too. So I think it means a lot for University of Portland, for any graduate from UP, but the most to the people who ran on that program and who have kind of been through the same thing that I have, and RC's been waiting for this his whole life.
What do you think it's going to feel like to don that red, white, and blue jersey and running out there knowing that you're representing Portland, you're representing the West Coast Conference, you're representing your country on the biggest stage?
What does it mean to represent the U.S.? I mean, that's the dream, and that's what I've been working for. I think in college, it's too far off to even think about it. But because of RC and that last great year I had at University of Portland, I was focused on trying to make this team for the last 6 years.
One more block to go. Coming up, mark your calendars. We'll go over some big events happening soon. And we look back at the 3 national titles won by WCC squads in 2021. That's up next when we return. You're watching this episode thanks to our sponsors, Heffernan Insurance, because you're different, and Don Francisco's Coffee, premium quality, great tasting, family crafted coffee since 1870, backed by 150 years of coffee roasting expertise for a perfect cup every time. Here's what to watch for in the coming weeks. The middle of August marks the return of fall sports as women's soccer, volleyball, and men's soccer are scheduled to begin their 2021 seasons. As we mentioned earlier in the show, 2 more WCC legends will be enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Bill Russell and Rick Adelman will join the Hoop Hall on Saturday, September 11th in Springfield, Massachusetts. And the WCC Cross Country Championships are scheduled for Friday, October 29th in Concord, California. The BYU men and women look to defend their titles. Welcome back to WCC All-Access. I'm Ezra Broder. What a year it was in the West Coast Conference. 3 teams and 1 individual won NCAA championships. Let's take a look back at those unforgettable performances. BYU Cross Country was the first team to take home the top prize. The women's cross country squad finished in first place, just a year after placing second at the NCAA championship. The Cougars are the first women's team in conference history to win the cross-country national title.
It was so exciting. It was so many years of work, and the whole, it feels like this has been coming since the whole pandemic started. So yeah, it was very emotional, super cool, very fun.
And though the BYU men didn't defend their national title, junior Connor Mance crossed the finish line before anyone else. He's the first medalist at the NCAA championship in conference history.
It was surreal. It was something I have worked towards for so long that when it finally happened, it was just like, did this really just happen? Like, am I gonna wake up tomorrow morning and like, or am I gonna wake up and it's like still race day? Like, it's kind of felt like a dream. And so it was just a really cool experience overall.
Later in the spring, Santa Clara claimed its second College Cup title in its illustrious women's soccer history. The 11th-seeded Broncos knocked off the top 2 seeds in the tournament in the Final Four. Izzy DeQuilla's penalty kick in the championship match clinched the national title for the first time since 2001.
This is the pinnacle of women's soccer for college soccer, and so for that dream to come true feels so amazing. Everyone dreams about winning a national championship, but to say that we actually did it, it just feels so surreal.
You can't make this up. If you were trying to design a movie script before the pandemic and you came up with this, nobody would have believed you. Yeah. And they went through it, and they overcame at every opportunity, and that's what won the championship for us.
And 2 weeks after that, Pepperdine men's golf won its second national title. Led by senior Clay Fagler, the Waves took down Oklahoma in the match play final, clinching their first NCAA championship since 1997.
Every athletic director in the country can tell you that everything this year has been difficult. And to be able to go through that and end with a national championship in men's golf is just the most incredible accomplishment.
And now to win it all here in Scottsdale, Arizona with our men's golf team, it shows that the West Coast Conference and Pepperdine University isn't just playing with the big boys, it is one of the big boys.
That'll do it. Thank you for watching WCC All-Access all season long. See you next time. This episode was brought to you in part by Reveal Suits, the official business apparel partner of the West Coast Conference. It's what's inside. Visit revealsuits.com. And Signature Championship Rings. Your success set in stone.